Are our government about to make themselves look as stupid as the state of California just has when it comes to additive manufacturing? Hello, my name is Rick. Welcome to my video, and today we're discussing potential legal applications from the UK government based on security and safety with regards to additive manufacturing. If you don't know what that is, that's any method of using materials on top of each other or together to build a structure. Simplest terms, it's the equivalent of a bloke building a wall. He's doing manual additive manufacturing, but in this case we're talking about 3D printers in the government's case, and their legislation similar to what has just been brought in as AB 2046 in California. Legislation that was brought in by somebody who had no idea of how a 3D printer works. The legislation they brought in, which is, I believe, the same as what the UK government are considering, is to make the 3D printer manufacturers legally responsible for checking and preventing their printers from printing any parts for the use of manufacture of weapons. We're talking things like ghost guns here, and if you don't think they exist, BBC Two has a series called Forensics, The Real CSI. If you're watching this from the UK, it's on iPlayer. If you're watching this abroad, you may still be able to get it on iPlayer if you can access iPlayer from your country. They have one which is going out. It's already been out and it's going out on repeat tomorrow, Sunday. This is Saturday, and involves a chap from Bedford. Police raided his house on a suspicion that he had guns. Turned out he did. Turned out he didn't buy them. He used his Creality Ender 3 printer to actually print the things. And yes, when they did test fired them, with a live bullet into ballistic gel, it would have been lethal at quite a distance. So yeah, this is the worry, that criminals will be able to print guns rather than buy them. They're untraceable. The Americans have already done something about it in California, but what they've done is they put the onus on the 3D printer manufacturers by saying you need an algorithm. It needs to check against the database about what's being printed. If it's a weapons part, you need to prevent the printer from printing it, and you need to then notify the authorities of where that printer is located so they can go and arrest the person. Well, all good in theory, except the printer is basically a CNC machine that works off of a set of written instructions. There's no idea what it's printing. It could be printing a bottle cap, it could be printing a mug holder or a part for a car. It has no idea. All it sees is a line of written code. That's called G-code. And all it does is it takes those instructions, and depending what G number it starts with, it will know whether it needs to move the head left, right, up or down, and whether it needs to dispense a piece of plastic out of the end of the nozzle and then move on. It can't tell what the printer is. The printer cannot tell what the part is from the G-code. It's no different to the old style CNC systems which I've used in the past, and it's basically a digital version of the print cards that you would see in things like when you see the old footage of the old Victorian guys with the automated organs where they're cranking the handle round and it's playing a beautiful tune because it's got a load of fan-folded stiff pieces of paper inside that activate different parts. Well, this is exactly what G-code is. It's just a digital version of that. The printers have no idea what they're printing, and the manufacturers have no idea what the printers are printing. What it would require is a massive upgrade to the hardware of the printer, which would allow it to actually transmit the entire file which is a entire G-code file back to base. Bearing in mind not all 3D printers, my second-hand Ultimaker 2 Extended Plus certainly can't do this. Have the ability to talk to the net and actually talk to a server, and there's no way, I can put something on my printer and nobody will know what it is. Then that server would need to be able to decompile that G-code back into the original 3D file, then use AI to work out whether that part is legit or not. And then by the time it's done all that and sent a code to the printer saying, yes, you can print it, the person at the other end has got fed up of waiting the 20 minutes it's taken so far and just turned the thing off, walked away. Now, in order to get that G-code to the printer, you need a slicer. That slicer takes a 3D file, image, and it turns it into all these different slices. A bit like taking a loaf of bread, putting it through a slicing machine. Full loaf comes out, goes in one side, comes out evenly sliced the other. So there's an opportunity there for the government, this is how it should work, for the government to make the people that create the software, the slicing software, to have that actual algorithm built into there, because it's at that point that the three-dimensional object gets turned into the G-code that then runs the printer. Now, if you don't do it at that level, the next level is the actual CAD software. AutoCAD, Onshape, Fusion 360, Tinkercad, OpenCAD. There's loads out there, commercial and thingy-bob, that you could force into doing the same thing. I'm betting that our government is going to get it really wrong and end up on the end of quite a few successful legal challenges from the printer manufacturers by following what they've done in the States. Now, hopefully there will be a public consultation on this, and those of us with 3D printers will be able to submit our evidence, our findings, our comments, and hopefully, unlike the state of California where they did just that, and they had the editor of 3D Printing Nerd, which is a website and YouTube channel dedicated to 3D printing, going through all of the information that a 3D printer isn't intelligent enough and capable enough to know what it's printing, and yet Senator Bauer, or what they call them, their equivalent of an MP, not an MP, county councillor, whatever, Lauren Bauer Khan, she decided facts didn't really matter and they were going to pass the bill anyway, even though it's totally flawed. So we would need to be able to get across to our government, attacking the 3D printer isn't the thing, attacking the slicing software or the CAD software is the way to go. Now you might think, well, there's 100 different 3D printers out there, 100 different slicing software, but in reality most of the 3D printer companies like Bamboo, Elegoo, Pusher, etc., use Orca Slicer now as their basis. Even if it says Bamboo Slicer on the thing, or Pusher Slicer on the soft, when you boot it up, it's Orca Slicer in all bar name. All they do is, under the agreement, it's just their version, comes with all of the presets that from all the experimentations to get the best print quality out of your print out of the filament that you put in, out of the type of the filament, rather than just leaving it to guesswork. Well, this is this is software. If you got one piece of software like Orca Slicer that's used either natively or by 25 different manufacturers, then by having one piece of code added to the core that allows it to look at the files that are coming in. The files that come in imported are either 3WMF files or STL files, and from that they can then compare those, because you're looking at an actual physical 3D model against what's on a database. Much easier and much quicker. That should be the way forward, and that's the way, if the government has the sense to have a public consultation on this, this is the way we need to push our government. I do feel sorry for those in California who are going to end up with printers that have given them years of solid service and have got years left, and they're not going to be able to use them because they could be arrested when all they might be doing is printing wheels for lawnmowers and switch covers for motorbikes and bits and pieces like that, and no intentions of printing ghost guns. So yeah, please keep an eye out for this when this happens in the UK and they have a consultation on it. If you're a 3D printer owner like myself, please make sure that you actually consult and that you send in your objections if they're planning on making the 3D printer manufacturers actually liable for the code. I mean, what they've done in the States, and if they do the same cock up over here, would be the equivalent of making Pentel and Bic liable for their end users using their pens to create hate material. I'm not joking. That is it. That is exactly what the legislation. It's the equivalent of the legislation, as close as you can get it as an analog, as an analogy. So keep an eye out for the UK government and its legislation on additive printing, additive manufacturing, possibly even subtractive manufacturing. And when we see it, don't forget, add your comments to it. Thank you very much.